Hello, deep dish fans and cast iron fans. This is Rob Wolf, and I'm going to give a testimony slash review promotion for Lodge Cast Iron. It's my cast iron of choice, but also going to show you how I make my deep dish pizzas, and you'll see the end product of why I use Lodge Cast Iron. I mean, aside from them being here in the States, in the great state of Tennessee, where hopefully I'll get up there sometime, to visit the facility, but their quality is second to none. You really do have cast iron for a lifetime. And don't just restrict your cast iron to camping. I use it every time I cook, with very few exceptions. But Lodge, what they do, they also have a handle here because the cast iron itself is heavy. This is a 13-inch, skillet, and it's deep. So it's heavy just by itself, let alone, put some food in there. So I like that part about it. And like I said, when I get done this pizza, you're going to see the golden color dough that every pizza maker is after. So like I said, I'm going to put my pizza together. I've got my dough I made right here. Now this dough, it's about 4 cups of flour. So there's a healthy amount of dough there. But you need it to pat up on the sides, and I'll show you that as well. And then you got your mozzarella cheese. Now it's sliced. Don't get the shredded cheese because that has too much airspace and it lifts up too, the ingredients come up too high. So make sure you get sliced, mozzarella. And then I've got chicken and garlic mixed in, and I've got my homemade sauce that I'm going to put on top. But before you do all that, make sure you've got your oven not only preheated, but you got your pizza stone in there preheated as well. I typically wait at least an hour for the oven to be around 400, 425 degrees, okay? Because that pizza stone, what happens, because Lodge cast iron is so thick, it does take a while for the cast iron to heat up. So what I do is I put the cast iron in the oven for 5 to 10 minutes just by itself. Then I'll put the dough in. I'll start it, pat it down and on the sides, put it in the oven for about 5 or 10 more minutes. At that point, the dough is going to start to set. And then you push it on the sides. And at this point, the cast iron's starting to, heat up. And that's what's going to make your walls of your pizza, of your crust, stay there. And then you put your ingredients in there, and that's what I'll do. And I'll come back, show you what it looks like before we put it in the oven. Okay, and then we put it in the oven for about 35, 40 minutes, pull it out. And because Lodge maintains its heat so long, that's the beauty of it, because you want your deep dish pizza to set for 5 to 10 minutes because it's going to be bubbling. And you want the ingredients kind of set down, but then it'll still be cooking the crust. Okay, so like I said, give me some time. I'll come back and show you before we put it in the oven, and we'll go from there. Okay. Hey, folks, here we are. Let me try to navigate here. So I've got the pizza. Obviously, the dough is setting up on the sides here. And you can see it's not, moving down or what have you. So that's good. And what I'm going to do, you can see the cheese on the bottom, and then obviously the chicken on top. And then you just pour the sauce on top and you spread it all around. And what you want to be careful of, don't fill your crust like all the way, or your ingredients all the way to the top, because the crust is going to shrink a bit. And the worst thing you can have is then your sauce and other stuff go over the top. Okay. Now, one thing I didn't mention is I don't have vegetables in this. And if you ever make a pizza with vegetables, because vegetables are like 90% water, it's going to make it all watery. So make sure you pre-cook your veggies beforehand. So let me get the rest of the sauce in here, kind of spread it out, and then I'll put it in the oven about 35, 40 minutes. I'll bring it back out, and you'll see it piping hot, and then we'll take it to the next step. All right, folks. After 35 minutes, we've got a thing of beauty here. So hopefully
you can see that steam coming off, and you'll see that the dough is pulled away. Now I'm going to let this cool for 5 or 10 minutes, and I'm going to put a little Parmesan cheese, sprinkle that on top, because you can see that's a little watery, around the edges there. But give me 5-10 minutes, and I'll come back, and we'll see what this thing looks like. Okay, thanks. Hey, folks, here it is. I just pulled it out of the cast iron, and we've got that golden brown crust all the way down. Look how uniform it is. Okay, so what I'll do, you don't want to cut it outside of the cast iron. So give me a minute. I'm going to come back, slice it up, and we'll pull a slice out to let you see what a deep dish slice looks like.
All right, it's the moment of truth. I want to talk about cutting your pizza. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to freeze this pizza, and then when I want to entertain some friends, just take it out, put it in foil, put it back in the oven, 400 degrees, and after about an hour, it'll be fine. But I wouldn't recommend using a pizza wheel because you only have about 2 inches, and it's going to get your sauce and crust all sloppy in the cast iron. And what I was saying earlier, don't cut the pizza when you have it out of the cast iron, especially something like this. This is good for flat pizzas, but when the pizza's out and you try cutting it with this or a wheel, you're gonna break the back of the crust. So what I do is I use a knife like this, and take your time and cut it. And let's take a look here. And there it is. You got a lot of sauce on there, but there's the cheese, the crust, the cheese, and the chicken and garlic is in there. So there it is. Let's see how this is holding up here. So yeah, so the crust is holding up. It's not flopping over, and that's what you want in a deep dish style pizza. So hopefully, there's some cheese dripping down. So hopefully, wow, that's still hot. You learned something here about making a deep dish pizza, but also to use Lodge cast iron. It's worth its weight in gold, and it'll last you a lifetime. All right, well, thanks, and hit the like and hit me up with any comments you have.